Use it or lose it. That quippy saying has a long history of proving right. Think about it. Just sit down with a middle schooler or even one of my wife's 4th grade students doing fractions, and you'll realize there's some holes in your memory, or rust at least, keeping you from doing things quite as quickly as you used to. The same is true with muscle memory. It's just like riding a bike, they say. I'm sure it'll come back, but how long will the soreness last in those muscles that aren't used to doing that, or my fingers that aren't used to playing the guitar anymore and protesting that I haven't been practicing? The same is true about learning. Doyle Schrader is the speech and communication professor at Bushnell University and a friend of mine. He and I shared a conversation about learning after I graduated college and was starting my master's degree program because I wanted to move beyond just learning. I wanted to let it be part of me. He described 3 buckets when we talk about learning. There's shallow learning, strategic learning, and deep learning. Shallow learning, you might guess, is learning just enough to avoid kind of embarrassment. Just enough to pass that test with a C. Just enough that your colleagues don't criticize you for not reading the email. This is the cramming before the test, the shortcuts to avoid having to read everything or actually do the hard work of writing. I found strategic to be the most interesting of the 3. This learning was a compartmentalizing of sorts, laying out the years of college, for instance, and learning how to be proficient just enough until the class is over. Strategic learners get rewarded with high academic standing, scholarships, awards. They're the experts on every new phenomenon, and they love conferences and absorb quickly what is being taught. Does this describe you? It describes me. But as soon as it comes, it goes. Erased by the next shiny object. Can you remember what you learned last month, last week, 2 nights ago? Deep learning, real learning, is not something we consume and move on from. Deep learning sinks in, invades our space, lingers around, and becomes part of the fabric of our being. So maybe you're like me and you have multiple email newsletters that show up with just a bite-sized little bit about stuff, and they've got great information, and then I follow authors and influencers on social media and I'm learning from them, and I've got books laying around my house and my desk and I'm trying to learn. Maybe you're like me and you're a conference junkie, and during the pandemic you've been chasing nuggets of wisdom from your favorite presenters via Zoom or YouTube. Maybe you're like me and you love having coffee chats with friends and coaches and mentors, asking them to help you improve. And maybe like me, before you even finish that article, that book, that podcast, or even that conversation, you're already chasing the next one. And I remember realizing how silly this cycle was when I was sitting on my laptop reading an article with a registration window open for another workshop, all while I was listening to a presentation I had driven over an hour to hear. To avoid just being shallow or even strategic, we need to rethink how we learn. Some learning improvement questions might be, do I even have a learning plan? Does my learning plan that I have look more like a fast food menu with a bunch of different choices quick, or a full course dining menu where I sit with it and I consume over time? How much time is there for reflection, or is it simply being managed? I asked Doyle for his suggestions for those of us in non-structured education environments. He replied, well, I as a professor teach it a lot, but there's a couple other things. You got to use it, you got to teach it, and you got to read opposing views and decide what to think. So the question is, are you using what you learn or losing it? Are you teaching what you learn to others, or are you just stockpiling for yourself? Are you pursuing critical theories that offer differing alternatives to what you learn, and then assessing what needs to be removed and what needs to just be changed? Don't lose it. Don't lose what you're learning. Use it. Hey, I'm Lars.
And I'm Larry.
We wanted to invite you to subscribe, which you can do by clicking the button below for videos like this one that you just finished watching, and you can find other links by going even further down about other value-adding activities that we've got going on.
Yeah, I launched Improving Leaders after a decade of leadership consulting as a new focus for my business.
Yeah, it's a learning community, which is different than just a business, right? We need people to be part of it, people like you.
Yeah, a learning community where we learn from each other, not just some experts sharing ideas to be consumed.
But everyone sharing experiments of on-the-ground problem solving, and those on-the-ground moments prompt reflection that then leads to further action.
And so these videos are just an entry point into the community, something we hope adds value to you.
And there's the invitation. It's for you to join us and begin adding value to other people who are on the journey with us together as we all are improving. So hit that subscribe button. Visit the website, improvingleaders.org, with a lot more info about how to join the community. Thanks for watching.